I'm Judy Ballantine from 2nd grade at Nevada City Elementary School. Welcome to my class reading from their books, and if you want to know more about the school, you may visit us in Nevada City and see what a wonderful school we are.
Hi, my name is Caleb, and I'm going to read Dogzilla, starring Flash as the Big Cheese, Rabies as Professor Scarlett O'Hara, special appearance by Dwayne as the soldier guy, Leia as the monster. It was summertime in the city of Mouseopolis, and mice from all corners of the community had come together to compete the first annual barbecue cook-off. As the cook-off got underway, smoke from the hot grills lifted the irresistible scent of barbecue sauce over the rooftops of the city. A gentle wind carried the mouth-watering smell into the distance, right over the top of an ancient crater. Before long, a strange, mysterious sound was heard. Sniff, 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 sniff. All at once, the volcano began to tremble. And suddenly, up from the very depths of the earth came the most terrifying creature ever known, the mouse kind, the dreadful Dogzilla. Immediately, soldiers were sent out to stop the mighty beast. The troops were led by their brave commanding officer, the Big Cheese. "All right, you flea bag," squeaked the Big Cheese. "Get those paws in the air. You're coming with us." Without warning, the monstrous breathed her horrible breath into the mice. "Doggy breath!" screamed the soldiers. "Run for your lives!" "Hey, come back here!" shouted the Big Cheese to his troops. "What are you, men or mice?" "We're mice!" they squeaked. Said the Big Cheese. "You're right. Wait for me!" The canine. Thank you for letting me read. If you want to hear the rest of this book, you can check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Eric, and I'm gonna read The Dragons of Blue Land. Over the harbor, past the lighthouse, away from Nevergreen City, flew the happy baby dragon. "I'm on my way home to the great high mountains of Blue Land," he shouted to the evening skies. "At last I'm off to my six sisters and 7 brothers, and my dear gigantic mother and father." He sped northward over the coast of Pop's Corning. He flew all night through the dark, scooting clouds toward awful desert, which surrounded the mountains of Blue Land. "I must be careful," he thought to himself, "that nobody sees me on my way, but I'll have to stop and rest somewhere. Where can I hide? I have grown as big as a buffalo, and my blue and yellow stripes and gold-colored wings will attract attention." The darkness faded into morning, and looking down, he saw green meadows, fields of corn and potatoes, a road wandering past barns and houses, and a brook zigzagging back and forth across the road. Perhaps I can find a bridge to hide under, thought the dragon, but I'll have to hurry. Soon the farmhouse will be up. He swooped down and coasted down to a place where the road crossed the brook. Gently he landed and cantered down the bank to hide underneath the bridge. But there wasn't any bridge. The road had been built right over the brook, and the water flowed under the road. Through a culvert, a long round tunnel, the culvert was too small for the dragon to hide in. I'll try another crossing, he said to himself, scrambling off the bank and galloping down the road as fast as he could to the next crossing. But here, too, a very small culvert carried the water under the road. Oh dear, he muttered as he galloped on farther between a yellow farmhouse and a big yellow barn. Just as he was passing, he heard a rooster scream and a window slam shut in the house. Where shall I hide? Where shall I hide? He panicked down, and then he came to a third crossing. He tumbled down to the bank and found another culvert, but a big culvert big enough for a baby dragon to hide in. He crawled inside, waddling through the shallow water that cooled his hot, sandy feet. What if someone in the farmhouse saw me? He kept thinking as he stretched just far enough to nibble the tasty skunk cabbages and marsh marigolds growing throughout the culvert. And then, as he ate and cooled off, he felt tired and happy and almost safe as he dozed off to sleep in the culvert. Thank you for listening to me read. You can hear the rest of this book at your local library.
Hi, my name's Samantha, and I'm going to be reading Where the Sidewalk Ends. Magic. Sandra seen a leprechaun, Eddie touched a troll, Lori danced with witches once, Charlie found some goblin's gold. Donald heard a mermaid sing, Susie spied an elf, but all the magic I have known I had to make myself. I must remember. Turkey on Thanksgiving, pudding on Christmas, eggs on Easter, chicken on Sunday, fish on Friday, leftovers Monday. Ah, but me, I'm such a dunce, I went and ate them all at once. Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Went for a ride in a flying shoe. Hooray, what fun! It's time we flew. Said Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ickle was captain and Pickle was crew, and Tickle served coffee and mulligan stew. As higher and higher and higher they flew, Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too, over the sun and beyond the blue. Hold on, stay in, I hope we do, cried Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too, never returned to the world they knew, and nobody knows what's happened to Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to listen to the rest of this story, you may check it out at your local library. Hi, my name's Tess, and I'm going to read Harry the Poisonous Centipede. You don't have to do everything. Does you know? She would often tell Harry. He's a very foolish and mighty centipede. Don't worry, Mama. I can't think for myself. I can think for myself, Harry would say, but it's very difficult when your friend wants to do something that sounds exciting, to be a dry sand bed, which is like a wet blanket, which is like a wet blanket with us, and say you don't want to join in because your mama would like it. So when one day George suggested that it was time they climbed out into the no-top world to do a bit of real hunting, Harry only hung back a little. He was really himself to go out and see the surface world outside only have to watch out for flying swoopers and belly wrigglers and furry biters and special humans, he said. George looked taken aback, but only for a moment. Oh, I know all about those things, he said in a pushing way. They're so big, I don't know how you can help smelling them, coming or feeling the vibrations, and we won't go far from a hole. Well, come on then. Are you a scaredy ant or what? The thing. 8. Thank you for listening to me read. You can check this book out in your local library.
Hi, I'm Chelsea, and I'm going to read Milo and the Mysterious Island. All winter long, hardly a living thing had moved on the rocky little island in the middle of the sea. Now that the strong storms had passed and the sea once again lapped peacefully along the shore, the first few cliff mice ventured out of the caves to enjoy the warm sunshine. Among them was Milo. Milo was eager to see if anything on the island had changed. He sniffed the fresh morning air and set off. Milo knew every corner of the island, every path, and every stone, and he was soon bored. Everything looked just the same as last autumn. Disappointed, he sat on top of the cliff and looked out over the sea. I wonder what lies behind the horizon, he thought. Milo saw a piece of wood floating in the water below. It gave him an idea. He scurried down to the water's edge and waded in and carefully sat down on the board. Amazing, it floated, even with him on it. Milo tried standing on it and promptly fell into the chilly water. The board was just too small. But what if he found some more wood and tied the pieces together? Milo hurried off to tell the other mice about his idea. If you help me, he said, we can make a giant raft and go exploring. This reminded wise old Bazar and an innocent tale about a mysterious island where strange striped mice lived. Perhaps we can find that island, said Milo. The other mice were all eager to help. Some of them went to look for wood, others collected grasses, which they wove into sturdy ropes and a huge sail. When the sun went down, they worked by the light of their magical stones. Finally, the raft was finished, but when it was time to set sail, only the bravest of the cliff mice dared to accompany Milo on the voyage. Balthazar preferred to stay at home. I'm too old for this type of journey, he said. Keep the sun in front of you in the middle of the day, and you will head directly south. With luck, you may find the mysterious island. The mice loaded food and water onto the raft. And of course, the darkness of an ocean night would be
most welcome. Then the adventurers said goodbye to their friends and headed on their journey. At first, the mice enjoyed the ride, but thank you for listening to me. If you want to check out this book, if you want to read the rest of this book, you can check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Madison, and I'm going to read How to Eat Fried Worms. Where's Joe? Asked Billy, spreading mustard down the length of a fried worm. He wouldn't come, said Alan suddenly. It's no fair putting on that much mustard. Ha ha, said Billy. Who says I can put on as much as I like of whatever I like, and you know it. Why wouldn't he come? How should I know? Billy swished a bit of worm around in ketchup and horseradish sauce. I don't know why he didn't. Yeah, you're so smart. Big deal. Alan couldn't get the $50 out of his head. What was his father going to say when he told him he bet $50 and he lost? Geez, he nodded some now. He wouldn't come because he knows I've won. He knows I could eat 20 worms if I had to. Yeah. Well, you ain't won yet. There's still 7 to go. You act so big. Wait until you begin to feel in your stomach. You think you know everything. Yeah, you'll see. You wait. Ha ha, said Billy. You think you can scare me talking like that? Pooey. He strolled past Alan out into the sunlight. Hi, said Tom, popping out from behind a barrel. Hi, said Tom. Said Billy distantly as he walked on. That's not a worm, yelled Billy. How can it be a worm? Gee, it must be 2 feet long. It's a worm, said Alan stubbornly. It's just like all the others. I rolled it in cornmeal and fried it. It's over 2 feet long, screeched Billy. He knew something was up. Otherwise, Joe wouldn't have come back slouching in the doorway. Noticing, pretending to be gazing up at the clouds. But Billy noticed he kept glancing at Alan and him. And Tom was peering in the window again. Something was up. Look, said Alan. I'll cut it. You can see for yourself it's a worm. There, see? Come on, eat it. Eat up. We ain't got all day. Joe and me have to go to Shushan with his father. Billy poked at the huge worm in his fork. Something sure was up. He ate the piece Alan had cut, looking at the rest of the worm over carefully as he chewed. He ate another bite. He forgot. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to hear the beginning and end of this story, you can check it out at your local library.
Hello, my name is Eric Hale. I'm going to read Nate the Great to you. My name is Nate the Great. I am a detective. I work alone. Let me tell you about my last case. I had just eaten breakfast. It was good breakfast. Pancakes, juice, pancakes, milk, and pancakes. I like pancakes too. The telephone rang. I hope it was a call to look for lost diamonds for pearls or $1 million. It was Annie. Annie lives down the street. I knew Annie didn't have any diamonds or pearls or $1 million to lose. I lost a picture, she said. Can you help me find it?
Of course, I said. I have found lost balloons, books, slippers, chickens. Now I did the great will find a picture. Oh, good, said Annie. When can you come over? I will be over in 5 minutes, I said. Stay right at where you are. Don't touch anything. Don't move. My foot itches. Annie said, scratch it. I said. I put on my detective. I took my notebook and pencil. I left a note for my mother. I always leave a note for my mother when I'm on a case. I went to Annie's house. Annie has brown hair and brown eyes, and she smiles a lot. I would like Annie if I liked girls. She was eating breakfast pancakes. I like pancakes, I said. It was good breakfast. Tell me about your pancake. Your picture, I said. I painted a picture. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to know the rest of this book, well, check out the rest of the book. You can check it out at your local library. Hi, my name's Luke, and I'm reading Fortunately. Fortunately, one day, Ned got a letter that said, "Please come to a surprise party." But unfortunately, the party was in Florida, and he was in New York. Fortunately, a friend loaned him an airplane. Unfortunately, the motor exploded. Fortunately, there was a parachute in the airplane. Unfortunately, there was a hole in the airplane, or in the parachute. Fortunately, there was a haystack on the ground. Unfortunately, there was a pitchfork in the haystack. Fortunately, he missed the pitchfork. Unfortunately, he missed the haystack. Fortunately, he landed in water. Unfortunately, there were sharks in the water. Fortunately, he could swim. Unfortunately, there were tigers on the land. Unfortunately, he could run. Unfortunately, he ran into a deep, dark cave. Fortunately, he could dig. Unfortunately, he dug himself into a fancy ballroom. Fortunately, there was a surprise party going on, and fortunately, the party was for him, because fortunately, it was his birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to me read.
Sit.
Hi, my name is Robert and I'm gonna read Good Morning Chick. There was a little house, white and smooth, like this. One morning, tap, tap, and crack, the house split open like this. A chick came out. He was small and yellow and fluffy like this. With a yellow beak and yellow feet like these. His mother named him Speckled Hen. His mother's name was Speckled Hen. She looked like this. She loved the chick and taught him to eat worms and seeds and crumbs. Peck, 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 like this. A big black cat jumped out of the house and hissed at the chick like this. The speckled hen spread out her wings and covered the chick like this. Cluck, 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 she scolded, and the cat backed away like this. Then a rooster flew up on the fence, stretched his neck, and sang cock-a-doodle-doo like this. That's easy, said the chick. I can do it too. He flapped his wings and ran. He stretched his neck and opened his beak like this. But all that came out of his beak was a tiny little peep, peep. He didn't look where he was going, and he fell into a puddle, plop, like this. A frog sat in the puddle and laughed. Quah! Wait till you grow before you can crow. The frog looked like this. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to hear the end of this story, you can check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name's Christina Miller, and I'm going to read Baby Sister's Little Sister Super Special number 4. I bailed through the front door of Mommy's house. I bailed into the kitchen. I dropped all my things all over the floor. Pencils, papers, an old workbook, 3 flower erasers, 2 sticks of gum, a paper mache rabbits, and a full of paintings. It was the last day of school. I had cleaned out my desk. Goodness, Karen, said Mommy. She and Andrew were in a picture. They had been shouting peace. Now they were looking at my nest. Andrew is my little brother. He is only 4, going on 5. I am 7. I am his big sister. I will clean it up. Don't worry, I told Mommy. Then I stood on the chair. I sang, "School's out, school's out." Teacher wore her bloomers out. I smiled at Andrew, but he frowned. "What does that mean?" he asked. "What are bloomers?" He opened a pea pod and popped out the peas. "No, I do not have any idea," I said. "I just heard some big kids singing that today." I heard them sing something else too. They sang, "No more pencils, no more books, no more teachers' dirty looks." I did not like that song. Miss Coleman never, ever gave me a dirty look. She is much too nice. I hopped off the chair. I began to scoop up my mess. I'm Karen Barrow. I have blonde hair and some freckles. I have glasses, 2 pairs. I wear my blue glasses when I read, and my pink glasses when I do other things. I have 2 best friends. Their names are Nancy Drews and Hanny Pappas. They are a little older than I am. They are almost 8. Nancy lives next door to Mommy. Penny lives across the street from Daddy, and 1 house down. My parents are divorced. They do not live in the same house anymore, but they live in the same town, Stony Brook. I was born here. Hanny and Nancy and I call ourselves the 3 Musketeers. We are going to be best friends forever. If you want to check out if you want to read the rest of the story, you can check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Molly, and I'm going to read The Cat Came Back. Rebecca was a dreadful cat. She hid dead mice in the cookie jar. She left her heroes in the toothpaste. She hung from the lights in the ceiling. And after everyone was asleep, she walked on the piano keys and sang. Rebecca's owners tried to get her to change her ways, but she wouldn't. So they gave her to a family out in the country. They pretended to be sad to see her go, but they were very glad. No more Rebecca, they told one and another, and they laughed. But Rebecca came back. She wouldn't stay away. She peeked in the window the very next day. So they gave her to a man who was going way down east. They told him to leave her with the one he liked the least. "See you in 100 years," they called. But Rebecca came back. She wouldn't stay away. She was banging on the door the very next day. So they gave her to a sailor who was on his way to Spain, but his ship went down a very heavy way. But Rebecca came back. She wouldn't stay away. And spitting their eyeballs, she was chewing on the mice the very next day. So they gave her to a woman who was going up in a mountain. They asked
her to leave Rebecca with the man in the moon. Goodbye forever, they cried, but Rebecca came back. She wouldn't stay away. She was screeching down the chimney the very next day. So they gave up and Rebecca stayed and stayed. Each year, her behavior got worse and worse. Then one day, after many years, she died of an old age. Her owners were sad to see anyone die, but then Rebecca came back. Thank you for listening to me read. If you would like to hear the rest of the story, you can check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Brianna, and the book I'm going to read is The Giving Tree. Once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. And every day the boy would come. And he would gather her leaves and make them into crowns and play king of the forest. He would climb up her trunk and swing from her branches and eat apples. And they would play hide and go seek. And when he was tired, he would sleep in her shade. And the boy loved the tree. Very much. And the tree was happy. But time went by, and the boy grew older, and the tree was often alone. Then one day the boy came to the tree. I already read that part. Then one day the boy come to the tree, and the tree said, "Come, boy, come and climb up my trunk, and swing from my branches, and eat apples, and play in my shade, and be happy. I am too big to climb and play," said the boy. "I want to buy things and have fun. I want some money. Can you give me some money?" "I am sorry," said the tree, "but I have no money. I am only leaves and apples. Take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city. Then you will have money, and you will be happy." And so the boy climbed up the trunk, up And so the boy climbed up the tree and gathered her apples and carried them away, and the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was sad. And then one day the boy came back, and the tree shook with joy. And she said, "Come, boy, climb up my trunk, and swing from my branches and eat apples, and be happy." "I am too busy to climb trees," and said the boy. If you want to hear the end of this book, you can check it out at your local library.
Hello, my name is Jake, and I'm going to read you Dealing with Dragons. Chapter 1, in which S'more refuses to be proper and has a conversation with the frog. Lindenwall was a large kingdom just east of the mountains of Morning, where the fellow officers were high respected. The number 5 of the fashionable climate was unremarkable. The knights kept their armor brightly polished mainly for show. It had been centuries since a dragon had come east. There were usually
predict problems with the royal children and uninvited fairy godmothers, but they were always the sort of thing that could be cleared up by finding a proper prince or princess to marry the unfortunate child a few years later. All in all, Lindenwold was a very prosperous and pleasant place. Samar hated it. Samar was the youngest daughter of the king of Lindenwold, and her parents were rather trying. The first 6 daughters were perfectly normal and princesses, with long golden hair and sweet devotion, and each more beautiful than the last. Samar was lovely enough, but her hair was jet black, and she wore it in braids instead of curled and pinned like her sister, and she wouldn't stop growing. Her parents were quite sure that no prince would want to marry a girl who wouldn't look him in the eye of gazing up at him becomingly through the lashes. As for the girl's proportion, when people were being polite, they would say she was strong-minded. When they were angry or annoyed with her, they would say she's stubborn as a pig. The king and queen did the best they could. They hired the most superior tutors and governesses to teach Samar all the things a princess ought to know. Dancing and drawing and antiques. There were a great deal of antiques. For the proper way to curtsy before visiting a prince, to how loudly it was personal to scream when being carried off by a giant. Lindenwold still had an occasional problem with giants. Samar found it very dull, but she pressed her lips together and learned it anyway. When she couldn't stand it any longer, she wouldn't go down to the castle armory and bully the arm master into giving her fencing lessons. As she got older, she found her regular lessons more and more boring. Certainly, the fencing lessons became more and more frequent. When she was 12, her father found out fencing is not a proper behavior for a princess, he told her in a gentle but firm. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to hear the rest of the story, you can check this book out of your local library. Finally, I can get another breath.
Stand up. My name is Jeff, and I'm going to read the Littles and the Trash Tinies. It was his choice, Mr. Little went on to save his mouse. He risked his life to save a mouse, said Uncle Pete. Can you imagine that? A mouse, a very special mouse, Mr. Little said. A mouse he had trained to find other mice. A soldier mouse that could take him safely in and out of trash city and the town dump. A place, as you know, that is completely surrounded by enemy mice at all times. Mice was in arms, a compassion and a friend to Nick. He loves Mus. Lucky said. Uncle Pete looked toward Uncle Nick's room. Here comes Lily, he said. Now we'll see how bad it is. Aunt Lily came into the room. She spoke in a hushed voice. He's going to be all right, she said. He's got bruises all over his body, but he's going to be all right. There's nothing broken, I think. I'm glad, said Mr. Little. Thank goodness. Granny Little said, but we do have a big problem. said Aunt Lily. She back and closed the door to Uncle Nick's room. He was so badly scarred and he hurts all over so much he's sure he's dying. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to find out how this book begins and ends, you can check it out at your local library. Hi, my name's Renee and I'm going to read The Lost and Found. Wendell and Floyd were in trouble. That morning, a giant squid had trapped them in the boys' restroom for almost an hour, causing them to miss a math test. Their teacher, Mrs. Gersblatt, had been furious. "We have no luck," said Floyd. Just then, Mona Tudburn entered the office. Mona was the new girl in their class. "I'm trying to find my lost and found," she said. "I lost my lucky hat." Wendell and Floyd glanced at each other. "That's strange," said Wendell. We're just talking about luck. "We don't have any," Floyd said. "Neither do I," said Mona. "At least not without my hat." Wendell pointed to the big market, lost and found. "I wish I had a lucky hat." "So do I," Floyd agreed. "Then maybe we wouldn't get into these crazy situations." Mona leaned farther and farther into the bin. Soon only her feet were invisible. A moment later, she was gone. The boys walked over to have a closer look. "Where did she go?" asked Wendell. "I don't know," Floyd said. "She must be lost." "Don't be silly," Wendell told him. "You can't get lost and found." Floyd looked at the principal door and thought about all the trouble he would get into if they were there when they were called. "I guess we should go after her," he sighed. They climbed into the bin and instantly plugged it into a deep wall of lost toys and clothing. "Look, Floyd, we found Mona." "I think I found you," Mona said. "Maybe we should get back now," Floyd suggested. If you want to check this book at the local library, Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Cabrina and I will be reading Where the Sidewalk Ends. Hug War. I will not play tug war. I'd rather play hug war, where everyone hugs instead of tugs, and everyone giggles and rolls on the rug, and everyone kisses and everyone grins, and everyone cuddles and everyone wins. Lazy Jane. She wants a drink of water, so she waits and waits and waits and waits and waits and waits and waits for it to rain. Warning. Inside everybody's nose, there lives a sharp-toothed snail. If you stick your finger in, he might bite off your nail. Stick it farther up inside, and he might bite off your ring. Stick it all the way, and he might bite off the whole darn thing. Thank you for listening to me read.
If you want to know how the story ends. If you want to know how the story ends, check it out.
If you want to know how the story ends, you can check it out at your local library.
We love reading!
What do you love?
Reading!
And where do you go to school?
MCE!
And what grade are you in?
Second!
And what do you love?
Reading!
Hip hip hooray!
Hip